이거 이간데 이거 이간데 이거 이간데 해간도다야 해야 해요 이거 간도다야 해 이거 이간데 간도다야 해야 해요. That song is a very powerful song, and it helps push away any negativity, and it helps the positive energy to come in. Just want to share that song with you guys, and I'm so honored you guys are here today. When we share teachings, we share songs, we're also taught to use our sacred medicines, delight our sage and our sweetgrass. So we pray that good thoughts and good teachings are shared today. Pray we hear good words, we speak good words, we see good things, and our thoughts and our heart is pure, and our spirit. A lot of people need to know this teaching, that your hair is an extension to your spirit. And it's so important that we share that teaching. Very sacred. But today we're here to talk about something very serious issue that people need to learn about. And that is the residential schools. These residential schools, as young as 4 years old to 16 years old. And this residential school started in 1870. In 1894 to 1947, it was mandatory for every Indigenous child that was between the ages of 4 to 16 to attend. However, not all Indigenous youth and children attended residential school. And these residential schools existed until 1996. So it's important that we share this knowledge. I am a son of a survivor. My mom went to residential school. My uncles, my aunts, my cousins, my grandfather, my grandparents. So we're intergenerational family, and that's important. So I've invited my mom here today to share a few words and her experience about residential school.
Well, my name is Yvonne, and I am a residential school survivor. I was there for 6 years. And what happened was, when I was a little girl, the Indian agent came to our house, and I'll never forget that Indian agent. His name was Eugene Gillis. He walked in and he told my mother, "Get this one, that one, and that one ready. I want them ready tomorrow morning, and I'm taking them to residential school. And you got nothing to say about it." My mom's jaw dropped. My dad was not home. He was working up in the woods. The next morning, my dad still wasn't home. The Indian agent came, packed us, and put us on the train to go from the Miramichi, New Brunswick, to Shubenacadie, to Truro, Nova Scotia. I was only 6 years old at the time. I didn't know really what was going on. I thought it was like an adventure. I'm getting on a train. I'd never been on a train before in my life. I got to residential school. It looked more like a prison than anything. But anyways, the door opened, and there stood Sister Gilberta. She asked me something in English, and I responded in Mi'kmaq. When I responded in Mi'kmaq, I got strapped right there. My tiny little hand, strapped that thick. And I was assigned an older girl, and I was told never to speak that language again. And the older girl, she was called my charge. She was told that if I was caught speaking Mi'kmaq, they would strap her too, as well as myself. So she had to teach me fast, because they really went with the strap, with everything, and they would punish you for every little thing. Everything was numbered. My number was 49. All my clothes was numbered. My bedding, the towels, base cloth, toothbrush, everything. And if you lost anything, if you lost your gloves, or if you lost your hat or your handkerchief or anything, heaven forbid, you were punished. That was the first trauma I experienced when those doors opened. The second one was that really, really impacted me a lot, and I had to get a lot of counseling afterwards. When Father Collins molested the girl that was in charge of me, we were working on the stairs. He came out and he started molesting her, pushed her in the corner and started feeling her up. We cried and everything. We didn't know what to do. We went to Mother Superior to report him. And instead of dealing with the situation with the priest, they took us, both of us, upstairs to the dormitory. They tied her on the bed, and they made me stand there and watch while they whipped her. And at that very time, I was so impacted by that, because as a little girl, I wanted to be a nun when I grew up. But when I saw this happen, I was just so traumatized, and I wondered, why? Why do these people that represent God, why are they so cruel? How can they do this to us? God would not want this to happen to us. Why are these people so evil and cruel? When we first entered too as well, they would cut our hair and put DDT on our heads. That's why hair is so important. Your hair is sacred. It's your soul. It's the extension to your soul. And this is where our strength comes from. Our children, we let them grow their hair, because it gives them strength and everything. They're connected with spirit. When we go out to pick sweetgrass is the hair of Mother Earth, and we braid that. The man's hair is so sacred that we don't allow anybody else to braid it other than your wife, your mother, or your grandmother. We tell people not to go and touch your hair like that, because that's how sacred your hair is. Our children are given to us by Creator. They're our gifts. By taking the children away from our homes, it was a form of genocide. They wanted to take the Indian out of the child, and that's why they took us and put us in residential schools. We weren't there for education. We were there as little slaves. I had to wash and wax those stairs every weekend. My knees are still sore today. They say the two things that you always remember is your number and the arthritis that you get on your knees later on. Just the anger that I carried with me during those teenage years when I started drinking later on. I was trying to hide that pain. I was bitter and I was angry for a while. And not until I found Native spirituality, going to sweats. My son and I went out to Alberta, and we connected with Albert Lightning. My brother George was there, and I fasted there, and I got my spirit name. My first spirit name was Sunrise Woman. I am Sunrise Woman of the East. My other spirit name that was given to me was by my brothers, George, Paul, and they gave me the name as Kingfisher Woman, which means provider and survivor. So you're given about 3 spirit names while you're here on Earth School. We call it Earth School. All the pain that we experience here, it's the teachings that we get. And when we go back to Creator, Creator, we're given the 4th name. My father was a residential school survivor, so I'm an intergenerational residential school survivor. I'm so happy that I made it out of residential school and that I could sit here today with my son and my grandson, and that I'm part of this family that I needed so much, that I lost. When I went to residential school, I didn't have my father and my mother to hold me, to hug me, to show that compassion and that love. So when I did come out of residential school, there was a lot of drinking and chaos and all of that until, they eventually settled down and stopped drinking. But there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of dysfunction that came from residential school. So today, my immediate family today, from my grandson to my great-grandson to my, all my grandchildren, were so involved with spirituality. We were very involved with education and with helping people. But it was all through counseling, therapy, elders, spirituality that really helped me. It really, really helped me where I am today. And I'm so grateful that I'm alive and well.
Before we give forgiveness, and when we do give forgiveness, because we have been given forgiveness, big siktaran, that's so important. But also, it's so important that an apology be made. And the apology must be made from the top all the way down. Now, we did hear local clergy apologize. We had our local bishops here in Halifax. And I had the honor to be part of that ceremony and to be on the altar where they knelt and gave apology to all our chiefs on a Treaty Day celebration many years ago. But then it stopped at that level. We need to hear it from the Pope. The Prime Minister has apologized. But we need to hear the apology all the way from the top. And we've asked for that, because that's important. Because we feel that's the beginning of healing too as well. It helps heal. It's that spark. It's that lights the flame of healing. My mom talked about medicine and talked about sweetgrass. We've burnt sage here today, but sweetgrass, it's also part of the braiding. It's a very important teaching. So I want to share a medicine song. It goes like this.